signs, at least over the last few months, about how the stimulus shaped up. We actually saw median incomes rise in April and May in response to the legislation, as folks got that stimulus payment and got the increased unemployment insurance benefits into their savings. So the stimulus payments aren't taxable, so you won't have to worry about having to withhold your own taxes on it. The payments are considered a credit against your taxes, so it's not considered taxable income. It actually reduces your tax liability in the form of a refundable credit. So you won't have to worry about paying tax either at the federal or state level for it. So generally, they will not have to pay any of the stimulus payments back. Any adjustments that end up happening will be in the favor of the taxpayer. So if there's more that it would be owed. But if you did see, for example, a higher income in 2020 than the 2019 or 2018 income that the IRS used to produce your payment, you will not need to pay that back on next year's tax return. That makes it pretty easy. The only situation or circumstance where it's less clear is if you receive someone else's payment, if they had deceased in your household. The IRS and Treasury are recommending or exploring ways to get that money back, though they made it clear that they're not going to aggressively pursue people in those circumstances. So generally, if they're using the same year to process your income, it is likely that you would get something. It really does depend on whether or not you have dependents and what the dependent changes may end up being. For example, have an adult dependent, you may end up getting a little more, it seems, because all the proposals sort of broaden the eligibility for those dependents. The big change, I think, will be whether or not your 18 or 19 income was used last time. So a lot of folks who had their 18 income used, if they've now since processed their tax return for 2019, the IRS and Treasury are going to go to their 2019 income. And if that is substantially different from your 18 income, you may see a difference in your stimulus payment, at least in the short to medium run. Just to be clear, like, that is not the case. This is actually an additional amount over and above. So if none of this had happened and you normally would have gotten a $500 refund next year, in this case, assuming all else is the same, you would get that $500 refund plus any additional stimulus amount you've either got now or adjusted on your 2020 return in your favor. Basically, what's happening there on the back end is the IRS and Treasury are saying, hey, we're going to apply this $1,200 credit to your tax return in 2020. But we know, because folks are struggling, that you don't want to wait until next spring to get this credit. So we're going to call this in advance of a credit we're already going to give you and mail you a check right now. And that's the way they keep track of who's getting these credits and associate the stimulus payments with your tax return. So you will end up seeing that credit on the tax return. It will have no effect on taxes you owe or refund you otherwise would have gotten. If there's any amount that you would otherwise be eligible for, you will get the difference in your 2020 return. And so this will primarily affect, it might be a small number of individuals, but if they have a low income in 18, got a stimulus payment in March or April, had a higher income in 19 and didn't qualify for one now, let's say in a second round. If they have a low income again in 20, they may actually get that again in their just later on when they file their taxes. So that is a situation to be on the lookout for, to make sure you understand what year they're using and what you may end up getting in the long run.